Hi soulmates, welcome back to my channel. So this is the continuation of how to make a Basque waistline top. I have a detailed tutorial on my channel on how I drafted this out. So if you have watched that video, continue with this one. But if you haven't watched that one, please go on to my channel and have a look on how I drafted this. So after I drafted the pattern and I cut on fabric, this is what I was able to come up with. And this is actually the lining. So this is the back block of the lining piece. So I went ahead to fuse in interface on in. So for this one I used paper gum for the lining, and for the main fabric I used what we call este in Nigeria if you're in Nigeria. Okay, so paper gum is the softest type of the an interface. All right, and that is what we call it in Nigeria. So this is actually the front, which has the basque, and the back ended on the waistline. Okay, it's actually only the front that comes with a basque effect. All right, so after I fused that in, this is what we have, as you can see. And I went ahead to join all my pieces together, and after that, this is actually what I came up with. You can see how beautiful they are looking already. This is the back piece for the main fabric. I actually did whatever I do on the main fabric, I repeat the same thing on the lining. Okay, so here is joining the back and front piece together. So I'll be joining it with my stitching allowance which I left, and that's I made use of 1 inch. All right, so go ahead and join your front and back together and do the same thing to the lining. Okay, so this is actually showing you how to do that. So I will go ahead to my sewing machine and sew this, and after I stitch this up, I also stitch my zipper allowance. So as you can see, this is what we have. I will go straight to my ironing table and iron these flats so that the zipper area will go flat, and I will go ahead and also join my shoulder stitching allowance. So after I join this is what I have. I've done that for both the actual fabric and the lining. Okay, so what I'll be doing next is to go ahead and open up the zipper allowance for the actual fabric and that of the lining. So I'll go on and do that on the actual fabric first, and after that do that, repeat the same thing on your lining. Please don't try to emulate what I just did. I mean the way I just tear up my zipper allowance, because this might end up damaging your fabric, like giving it a tear, and you won't be able to correct that. Please, once you are done with that, you go ahead and place your right sides together, okay, for both the lining and the actual fabric together, making sure that the shoulders align and that of the zipper allowance, the place you notched on the zip. Okay, make sure that all these places align and go ahead and sew your allowances. Okay, so once you want to sew this up, first of all you have to sew the necklines together using 1/2 inch. All right, making sure that all your seams allowance align. Okay, so after you are done with that, just go on and top stitch that and move ahead to the down part, that is the hem. So to the down part, you're going to go ahead and remove 1/2 inch on the lining part, as you can see me doing like this. Okay, so once you are done with that, go on and stitch using 1/2 inch, and remember to notch all your allowances before you top stitch. This is actually to avoid your lining from showing outwards. Okay, so it's very nice that you top stitch, and before you do that, make sure to notch so that the place your allowances can go flat. All right, And after you are done with that, go on and stitch your side seam, okay, with a little inch. Okay, you can make use of 0.25 or 0.5 inches. It all depends on the amount of allowance that you left behind. And once you are done with that, go on from the armhole part and turn out the dress. And you guys, this is what we have after I was done with everything I just explained. Okay, so you can see that our top is coming to life right now. And I also went ahead to sew in my zipper on the zipper allowance. Okay, so right now what I'm trying to do is measure out my shoulder. You know that my shoulder, I use 15 inches. So I will go ahead placing my tape at the center front, and then I'll mark out 7.5 inches plus a half inch for stitching allowance. So after I was done with that, from that shoulder line, okay, go down by 7 inches, as you can see me doing like this. This will actually guide you on how to shape out your armhole properly well. All right, so after I was done with that, I connected the line. After connecting the line, ensure that you use your tape to make sure that you actually have the armhole measurement that you are looking for. Okay, so this is trying to know if I actually have what I wanted. And right there I am looking for 9 inches. That is my round armhole, okay, measurement. So after I was done with that, I trimmed off my armhole, and then we go over to the sleeve, cutting of the sleeve. Okay, now on the cutting part, I didn't show you where I cut out the sleeve. This is because I intended cutting it with my basic sleeve block. All right, so this is the sleeve, and what I'm trying to achieve here is a bishop sleeve. Okay, so you guys, if you actually want me to do a tutorial on this type of sleeve, please indicate on the comment section. All right, so I know you won't understand because I'm trying to not to make this video very long. Okay, so this is actually a bishop sleeve I'm trying to achieve here, and I did that using my basic sleeve block. Okay, all right, I have a detailed tutorial on my channel on how to draft out a basic sleeve block, so you should go onto my channel and take a look at that. I will also leave a link to that video on the description box for you guys to take a look at it. Okay, so after I was done with that, I used splash and spread method, okay, to achieve that. That is actually how to achieve your bishop sleeve. Okay, now for this one I made use of 2 inches for my splash and spread. If you want this sleeve to be fuller than this, go ahead and input your preferred seam allowance, like spreading it with 3 inches, 4 inches. It all depends on what you want. So after I was done with that, I will go ahead and mark out all my lines, and from there I would cut out my sleeve. Okay, now note that the fabric is on folds, meaning that we are cutting the two sleeves at once. I'm trying to cut this out, and once I am done, I'll go ahead and cut out my cuff, okay, which would be at the down part of this sleeve. And then again, when you are doing this, please make sure that you use a tape to hold your paper down to your fabric, because you don't want your paper shifting while you are doing this. If you don't have a tape, you can make use of your pins, okay, just to safeguard this in case it shifts while you do this. Okay, now after I was done, this is what I was able to achieve. Okay, you can see that this is not too full because I don't want it too full. If you want yours to be beautiful, go ahead and take all the precaution that I just mentioned. All right, so going back to the cuff, my cuff, the length is going to be 5 inches, so the cuff is going to start from the 3/4. Okay, so right now I'm going to measure out and I'm placing this on fold, okay, while I cut, meaning that the hem is going to be on folds. Therefore there is no need of turning it out with a lining, or so this sleeve, the cuff part is not going to come with a lining. So once I am done with that, I'm going to cut out the second part of the cuff. Okay, after cutting out the length of your cuff, you're going to have to measure your wrist measurements. Okay, and after I measured out my own, I had 9 inches, meaning that by the time I divide it by 2, I should have 4.5 inches. Okay, I'm going to be using 1 inch allowance to join this cuff to the men's sleeve itself, and then also I'm going to be adding half inch allowance as well at the tops part of the cuff, so that it will enable me join it to the upper parts. All right, so I'm going to cut out the measurement of my cuff, and then I would go ahead and stitch this to the men's sleeve. But before I stitch that to the men's sleeve, I'm going to have to gather the hem of the men's sleeve and join it to the cuff. Okay, so this is what I actually did, and then I went ahead to stitch my sides using 1 inch. Okay, so you can see when I haven't joined the side seam, so I would arrange this in place and go ahead and join the side seam. Okay, and then I will forge ahead to join this to my top. Okay, so this actually brings us to the end of this tutorial. So you guys, I can't contain my joy right now because this outfit is actually very beautiful. Please do make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy every bit of it. Don't forget to turn up your notification bell to get notifications like this once I upload a new video. All right guys, I will see you in my next tutorial. Bye.